Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we are going to glaze our clay pieces that you guys created before Thanksgiving. So when you worked on these before Thanksgiving, your clay was very soft, you could mold it, you could press into it, and now our clay pieces are permanent. You can kind of hear. They're permanent. We can put these in a bucket of water and they would stay just like this. So now we can never change the shape of this clay because the clay has been what's called bisque fired in the kiln. Now our kiln fires up to about almost 2,000 degrees, so it gets super hot. And when your clay is white like this with no paint or glaze on it, this is called bisque fired clay. So everyone will get their bisque fired clay back today, and then we are going to work on glazing. You will need to finish glazing today. That's important. There's two really important things that you need to know about glazing. The first is you need to paint 3 layers of paint. So when I paint this bell, I will paint it once, let it dry a little bit, paint it a second time, let it dry a little bit, paint it a third time. Then when I paint this circle, I'll do the same thing. I'm going to paint it 3 times. Okay, that's 3 layers. The second thing that is very important is that we never want to get glaze on the back. So you're going to have a paintbrush, you're going to have a piece of white paper as like a placemat or a messy mat. Your clay piece will be on it, and you should not ever flip your clay piece over and paint the back. We do not want glaze on the back because when it goes back in the kiln so that it'll look nice and pretty like this, it will fuse to the kiln shelf and it'll stick if there's glaze on the back. So we cannot add glaze on the back. All right, I have lots of glazes. Like this one is called light yellow. It's going to just be yellow. But I have lots of glazes that don't necessarily look like what they're going to be. So first of all, this one is called Noel, and it is white with red and green speckles. Put these over to the side. So be thinking about these as I show them to you because you may want to use them. This is called Dutch enamel. It's white with blue speckles. This one is called Firecracker. It's mostly red, a bright red, and it has green and yellow speckles. This one is called Woodland Fantasy, and I'm going to point this one out. These two are the same. This right here, I'll show you this one. This one is glazed right here in Woodland Fantasy. It does not look the same, but when it goes into the kiln and it fires, this color right here will change to this color. The one on top is the Dutch enamelware, so it kind of looks pink with little blue flecks, but in the kiln, when it gets super hot, this is going to change colors to white with the flecks. So you just kind of have to trust me. You can look at these and see what they look like so that you know what you want to use. This is called Ink Spots. It's white with black spots. This is called Peppermint Twist. It's kind of pinkish with red and pink and white. And this one is called Meadow. It is a green with blue, black, and yellow flecks of paint. So I'm going to put these to the side, and now I'm going to show you how I want you to glaze your clay piece. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to get started. You are going to have your clay piece on top of a white piece of paper. This is like your messy mat today, and a clean paintbrush. And what you're going to do is you are going to decide which one of these colors you want. So I've showed you this earlier in the video, and when I call you up, you can just come up and pick one of these colors, okay? You can show me one of these. You can say, Ms. Kilgore, I want this one, and I will get it out for you. Remember, they may not look like this one right here is going to look like this when you glaze it on, but when we fire it, it will turn into this color. So you're going to pick one color. That's it. You only get one color. So when I give you that color, I probably will give it to you without the lid. So I'll take the lid off, and your job is to carry it carefully to your table without spilling it. And what you're going to do is you're going to dip your paintbrush. See, I'm not getting the glaze on the middle part. You're just going to get a little bit, and you're going to start painting. We need 3 coats of paint. And this clay piece is 3-dimensional, which means that there's a top, there's sides, there's a back. We are not painting the back. Remember, that's one of our rules. We do not paint the back of a clay piece, ever, okay? I can't put it in the kiln if you paint the back. So I'm just going to go around. If I can't see parts, what I like to do is I like to turn my paper. That way I don't get the glaze on my fingers. I just turn my paper, and then I can see the sides that I didn't see at the beginning, okay? So we're going to paint 1 whole coat. So that's 1 coat. It means I painted it 1 time. Now I'm going to paint it a second time. You can also paint the sides if you want, but don't scoop up a lot of paint. We don't want paint everywhere, okay? So just get a little bit of paint on your brush if you're going to paint the sides. See, I'm kind of turning it with my paintbrush, or you can turn your paper. I think it looks pretty to paint the sides. Just don't get too much paint. That's important. All right. So now I'm going to paint a second coat. So I'm going to get more paint on my brush. I'm going to just paint on top of what I already painted, okay? Now, you can see in places like this, the clay looks white. I can see the white of the clay under the glaze. You don't want to be able to see any white clay. That means you don't have enough glaze. So keep adding some. You'll notice that this color has like little bits in it. And that's what makes all these little colorful spots, or the little bits of stuff in there. So you will see that, and that's normal. All right? So 2 coats is looking pretty good, but I am going to put a 3rd coat. As long as I can't see my glaze underneath, 2 coats may work. Okay, so if you're running out of time, you can raise your hand and ask me what I think, and I'll show you places that might need more glaze and places that look good. All right, I think that looks good. So when you're finished, you're going to raise your hand. I am going to come get your brush and your glaze container. You are going to leave your clay piece at your table to dry. It needs to dry for a while before we pick them up because it'll get all over our hands. So I will wash out your brush and I will put away your glaze. Your job is just to kind of wipe your table maybe with a baby wipe if you have any glaze on it. And then you can play when you're done with that. All right, have fun.